What if there was a podcast where one NFL legend talked about football? What about two NFL legends, huh? What about three? This is Wideout's World, where the gridiron comes alive. NFL legends Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Three NFL legends, breaking down the game from the ultimate insider perspective. Game recaps, upcoming previews, and exclusive analysis straight from the minds of those who've been in the trenches. Wideout's World. Let's do it.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Hut.
Hey, that guy in the end has to be from Tennessee. We're ready for some football, baby.
There you go. All
Tennessee
right,
or Alabama.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Wideout's World. I'm your host tonight. Every now and then, Irvin gives us a chance to drive the car. It is my night, my time on the mic. Mike is on the mic. And so this is my co-host, Irving Fryar, and Fred Barnett. Welcome to Wideout's World, everybody. What's up, fellas?
Yeah, what up?
What's going on? You know what? I actually missed you guys this week. I don't know why, but I kind of missed talking to you guys this week. That's all right. I'm glad to see you today. Good to be here. Good to be here.
You know what? Let me say this, and I'm very serious right now. I was in Mississippi for my dad's 80th birthday, and Irv, your birthday was the day after. Happy birthday. We already did that.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi is the part of Mississippi where I was from, or where we were actually, was about an hour from Memphis, Tennessee, and I went to Arkansas State, which is in Jonesboro, Arkansas, about an hour and a half from Memphis. So I had a chance to see some of my college teammates. So after I left my dad's birthday, that Saturday I went into Memphis, into the city, and saw some of my college teammates, about 8 of us. And one of my college teammates who was there, you know, we all just kind of talked about old times. We talked about, hey, what do we need to do to stay healthy, what have you. And came back to Bermuda on Sunday. And Tuesday, I get a call that one of those teammates who I was just sitting with on Saturday had a heart attack and died. And 2 days later, another teammate who couldn't make it lost his battle with cancer. And it hurt. And it's such a bitter reality. It was such a bitter reality for me. And with that, I just was at a point of just watching the leaves blow on the trees. And it just kind of reminded me how important the present time is. And I want to take a minute right now to say to you two that I'm proud of you and I love you. And I mean it. We have a short period of time to live this life. We know the inevitable is happening. We don't know when it's going to happen. And just in case no man has told you in your life or lately, here's a man who's saying to you, I love you. And I just needed to get that off my chest.
Appreciate that, bro. And you know, I deal with that kind of thing, not necessarily as close to me as that, as frequently. I deal with that on a frequent basis, being a pastor, being a preacher. We deal with funerals all the time. And, you know, it's one of the truths of life is that we are all on death row. We're all on death row. True. And time does not work for us. Time works against us from the time we're born. And because people don't understand that, people think that we have time or they have time for whatever, and therefore they waste time. But like you said, what I get from what you're saying, thank you very much for the love. Thank you very much for the sincerity, and thank you much for so much for thinking about me. But that's what we got to do, man. We got to stop hating on one another and stop holding on to forgiveness. Family members got to stop treating people like in their family like they're their enemies. I never. It's just crazy how family members act sometimes.
Figure it out.
Not even figure it out. Just it's not even worth it. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's not even worth it. Let it go and keep moving, because we only have a moment. Life is wrapped up in this moment. Eternity is in right now.
We're just a vapor. He says
just a vapor.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just a vapor. Well, appreciate you too, Fred. Sorry about the losses, but appreciate you, man, and much love to you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's dive right in, man. It's Wideouts World.
Oh, we're done.
We got a lot of good Wideouts information and stuff to talk about. So we had two receivers on the move. So let's start with Amari Cooper. Okay, I want to get your guys' take on Amari Cooper going from Cleveland to the Buffalo Bills. And I know our boy. I know he's like happier than a pig in slop that he has a number one receiver. Yeah. Talking about Richard. Hi, Richard. We know you're out there. We'll talk to you soon.
He's not on yet, Mike. He's not on yet.
Okay.
There he goes. There he goes.
There he is.
There he is. All right.
He said, look, I'm gonna put it up. There. He said, tell Fred Barnett, don't forget to say no Diddy. Whatever that means. But go ahead, Mike.
I have no idea.
Talk to me about Amari Cooper. Let's get your takes on Amari Cooper first, guys.
Well, Amari Cooper was the man when he was at Dallas. Ran great routes, caught the ball, and did a great job when he was at Dallas. But then when he went to Cleveland, for whatever reason, at some point in his first year there, he did okay. But for some reason, he wasn't the same guy, the same route runner, the same aggressive guy as he was in Dallas. Something happened where he got bitter, I think, and just stopped competing at the level he was competing at when he was at Dallas. That was evident in the game we saw last week when he had a face mask penalty. he's just, running lazy routes. He's not running. I mean, he's a great route runner. He was a great route runner, and his routes are not crisp. His routes were not precise.
Yours wouldn't be crisp either in Cleveland. Just think about where he is. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going with this. Okay. At some point, he got bitter or he got turned off in Cleveland with what was going on there. Obviously, it had a lot to do with the quarterback and his ability to get the ball to him. Come on, any receiver is going to have a problem with that. Yeah.
There you go.
Deshaun Watson is since he's been in Cleveland, he's declined. And when a quarterback is not playing well, guess who that's going to affect the most? Not just the team, but the receivers. And so Amari Cooper right now is shouting hallelujah because he's in Buffalo with a good quarterback. Josh Allen can be
decent quarterback. A
good quarterback. Josh Allen can be considered, or at sometimes he's considered in the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and he can throw the ball. So just watch everybody. Watch Amari Cooper's play and how it's going to look like he's been injected with energy, with newness, with strength, with just the brightness about him because he's out of Cleveland. Who wouldn't, as a receiver right now, want to be moved? Yes. Who wouldn't want to leave Cleveland right now with the way things are going for them? And it's going to be that way for several years to come because they can't afford to get rid of Watson.
Right.
Yeah. First of all, I think that when you create or you're put into a different situation, you get a different type of energy or you get a different type of adrenaline. Now, interestingly, one thing about Amari Cooper, when Joe Flacco was with Cleveland, there was one particular game that Amari Cooper had over 250 yards receiving.
That's when he first got there. Yep, when he first got there.
And then now the interesting thing about that is that they couldn't keep that they couldn't keep that up with him. And of course, now Flacco is gone, and Cleveland has what they have now, which, in my opinion, is not better than Flacco. It seems now where everywhere where Flacco goes, he has success. I mean, even now, and where they probably shouldn't have let him go. But
Flacco won Super Bowl.
I said no. I say that to say that you're absolutely right, Herb, in that here's a new lay of the land for Amari Cooper. He has a quarterback who I think to some degree is questionable in terms of being a Super Bowl quarterback, but a quarterback who's definitely gonna push for a playoff run and can get you the ball, and could possibly be in the AFC Championship at some point. Uh, and to some degree, an open offense, and to some degree, he is in a position where that position is needed. Keon Coleman, I mean, he's a young guy, and they got a few receivers here and there, but Amari at this point will be probably their number one. And when you're a number one, when you look at that first 15 plays, you're like 3 or 4 plays in that first 15 plays. So now he's involved, and for a player who's been in the league, 8-10 years. You know what you're doing. The physical part is dying out a little, but you just want to get involved. Right. And once you're involved, it really turns it up for you as a player, to know that you're involved. So I can see that move for Buffalo being a pretty good move. It's a pretty good move for Amari Cooper, of course.
It's a great move for Amari Cooper.
Or the Browns.
Because remember, all the players are looking for that slam dunk contract. They're all looking for that big contract. And now Amari Cooper sees what's going on in the NFL in terms of the monies that the top receivers are being paid now. $25-30 million a year they're being paid. So he wants.
Will Amari get there though?
He won't get that. He won't get that.
Yeah.
But he can get 20. He can get 20 or 15.
Well, I think he's on the last year of his deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So he may obviously finish that one out. But here's the great thing about Amari Cooper. He's always done everything right.
Right.
Outside of this year, Herb, that you were talking about, I haven't seen him have a bad game.
Well, last year he struggled last year. He struggled last year.
I'm saying outside of.
Was it because of him though?
And it wasn't because of him, but when he's on and the team is right and the chemistry is good, I mean, the guy's been productive. So
he is.
For me, it's a great move for the Bills, and I'm happy for him as a receiver. So let's go.
Watch him though. Watch what he does now. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We all agree with that. Let's go to.
Oh, he's on stage now. He's on stage.
Devontae Adams. I'm going to go first. That way, you guys don't steal all the thunder. I'm going to go first. So the great thing about this is, I'm curious as to why everyone feels that he is the savior. He's not going to be the savior for that team. He's going to be an addition, but they got problems now. Talking to fellow wideouts, here's my problem. I'm still not happy with the fact of Aaron Rodgers blaming the receiver for an underthrown ball in the game the other night. Now, granted, he talked about the red line.
That's Aaron Rodgers.
Thank you. The receiver should have been on the outside because they had two go routes. In the slot guy and then the outside guy. He should have taken an outside release and went down the field. That didn't happen. But he was still open had Aaron Rodgers threw the ball towards the sideline with enough air on it. Would you guys agree with that?
Where it's supposed to be.
There you go. But he's blaming him. So that part, I'm going to have a hard time getting over that one. But I'm happy for the team. I think they'll be better. I enjoy watching them a little bit more, but I just don't think that he is the answer. I still don't think that they're a Super Bowl team, but they're throwing everything in with the kitchen sink. And I'll let you guys go. Here's a great thing from their owner, Woody. He said that they're going all the way. He says they're all in, and they're going to. I mean, the owner is delusional that he thinks now this is And there's a lot of
This is
pressure
it.
now put on both of them, not just Aaron. Now the pressure's on both of them to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for them because it's not going to happen.
You want to go last? I'll
No,
go.
you really want me to say what I really want to say?
Yeah.
So save it for last. You want me?
Okay,
You want me to
no,
go?
I'm gonna say it right now because
Go ahead. Say it
first
right
of
now.
all, Aaron Rodgers is an arrogant ass. That's what he is.
Thank you.
He's an arrogant ass
Hallelujah.
because to openly criticize your teammate like that,
Hallelujah.
that's arrogant and that's out of order. And Aaron has been that way. He wasn't that way when he first came into the league, when he was playing behind Brett Favre. But when he got the job and then they brought in Love, he started getting arrogant with everything. As much as he says he didn't have anything to do with the firing of the coach there with the Jets, he's a liar. He's a liar. He had a lot to do with it. I don't know if that kicker is going to be fired or let go. If he is, Aaron's going to have a lot to do with that because the kicker missed a couple of kicks.
Aiming for the doggone goal, the upright. How you aiming for the upright?
But I'm telling you, anytime, look, Dan Marino tried to do that one time with Mark Ingram and myself when we were there, when we first got to Miami. And Mark and I cornered him and told him, listen, you don't do that because I will punch you in your face and I'll be gone. You'll be here, but I'll be gone. That'll be fine. But I'm going to get you. Yeah, I'm going to get my punch in. And it's the same way with Aaron Rodgers. How dare you? How dare you? You're not perfect. If the route is run the wrong way, if I do drop a ball, if I do something wrong, I haven't done those things on purpose. I'm out here getting paid, trying just like you are. You don't throw every ball perfect. You're not perfect. Don't call me out. And for someone like him to call out a wide receiver, a teammate, that's just an arrogant ass. I hope this makes ESPN.
Aaron Rodgers was at his best on his way up. The problem is that when he got up, and when he got to that point to where they talking, oh, we got a Hall of Famer that's playing right now. You know, we got a guy who everybody wants. He's one of the best quarterbacks that's playing in the league right now. He became a different person. And this was over the course of, in my opinion, a couple of years where I literally saw him transform into a different type of person. And I'm like, who is this guy all of a sudden? And Irv, you're absolutely right. His engagement with the coach Sala, who's now gone. We know and understand where that came from.
Right.
I think that it's really sad to say, but the biggest problem with the Jets right now is Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, exactly.
But he's probably the most valuable player on the field, which is oxymoron. It's like how can the most valuable player be on the field be the biggest problem?
Because he's misusing and abusing his authority and influence.
Yeah. And the thing is, all he has to do is change his freaking attitude and be a team player.
That ain't gonna happen.
And a lot of people don't really see that happening. And I think even just the gestures on the sideline. I think we've been there. We all three of us have been there. We like, oh, I see that. I know what's going on right there.
You know, the interesting thing about Aaron Rodgers, if we think back, he was out for a whole year, no preseason games, nothing. To miss a whole year, then don't even get any work preseason.
Right.
I'm not surprised he's playing this badly. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Can I say this, Mike? I think we all three of us was excited. For Garrett Wilson. We were like, this guy is going to be, a great receiver. Aaron Rodgers is going to get him the ball. So I had an argument today. I played golf today. So the ESPN was on, and they were talking about Devontae Adams being going to the Jets, and there was a guy here in Bermuda who said that, oh, Devontae is going to be the number one guy, but the number one B guy is going to be carried. I'm like, no, no, no. There's no number one B. It's like you got
Number one, number two,
you got your number one,
and number
and you
two.
got your number two.
Yeah.
That's it. And he argued with me until I told him, I said, look, I was the number one for 8 years. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I played with the Eagles and the Dolphins. I was the number one, so I understand what a number one is, and I understand what a number two is.
Mm-hmm.
Although he is a starting receiver, I think it's unfortunate, and it's kind of a kind of in the same subject matter, but Garrett Wilson just probably lost about 500 yards.
Well, yeah, and then don't
or,
forget,
or maybe a little more.
don't forget, Devontae was with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yes,
So
that's
that's
my point. So
he's gonna force the ball.
you got Devontae being the number one guy right.
Right.
So, well, his interception rate is going to go up because he's going to try and force the ball to Devontae.
He
He's gonna try to force it.
He gonna be
Oh, yeah.
choking.
He's gonna try to force
All
it.
right. So that's a good lead in, guys, because we have our top 5 receivers to talk about. There's some good action this week as opposed to last week. We had some good performances. So let's kick it off. Fred, you can go ahead and start with the top 5.
I will start with top 5. I will start at number 5. I will go with Lazard from the Jets. I have to say that they played an interesting game against Buffalo. I think I think that's a game that I won and you guys lost.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, I was, man. I'm lost a
Let
lot.
me
I'm
tell you.
losing a lot of
Let
games,
me tell you
bro.
what. When I
losing a lot of
when I
games.
see that when I saw this game, I'm like, you know what? I think there's a momentum that the Jets would have, but I think it's a momentum that's to some degree discredited about the reason they should have that momentum, which is firing someone who, in my opinion, was not the reason for where they are. So let me
But
go back.
Fred, just
I
to your point, Fred, firing
yes.
the head coach, maybe he wasn't the one that should have been fired, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. But what it did was it stirred the pot, and it shook them up, and it got maybe it created some friction that they needed to get them ignited. And that was what I was thinking last week when I picked them to win. I'm like, this thing is what they needed, or this thing they're going to take it and they're going to use it to create momentum and to get them on track.
But let me say this: what happens right now when you're the offensive coordinator, and if you're the offensive coordinator with the Eagles, and the Eagles is averaging 25, 30 points a game,
I'd be happy.
And what the thing is that even if they lost a couple of games, I say that to say, although there was something that stirred up, you still have to look, and it may be my perspective. You still have to look at the reason of the stir up, and you say, I don't take the words from Sauce Gardner, but I hear that Sauce Gardner was confused about that.
Well, I was just going to comment on when you said you have to take the reason for the stir up or the reason for the controversy, so to speak, and understand that as to whether or not it's going to take the team up or take the team down. But I promise you, and you know this, having played in the NFL, not everybody on the team, the Jets, knows the reason, the real reason, the true reason why the head coach was fired. Not everybody knows. Now, they may have their own interpretation. They may have heard this or heard that. But by the time word gets around, the truth is not always the truth.
I would bet you 95% of those players would say, Aaron got him out of here.
Oh yeah, but
They see.
they won't. But they don't. They couldn't
The
tell
camera.
you. They couldn't tell you
The
what.
camera.
They couldn't tell you the seed or the real
It doesn't make a
reason why.
difference.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. But that's what I'm
The
saying.
camera is catching. The camera is catching the awkward
Of
moments
course.
between. And here's the. I know. I knew we need to giggle. Here. The camera is catching the awkward moments between Rogers and Solace. And it's like if the camera is catching it, you know they feel it in the meeting room. All right, let me go. All right, we got Lazard at number 5. I got Wilson, who's now a number 2 receiver, and who's probably not going to be an All Pro now because Devontae Adams and in my opinion, I think Rogers is probably going to feature him more. He's going to be the number 1 guy. Lazard had 6 for 114 and a touchdown. Wilson had 8 for 107 and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 guy, and oh my God, I got so much dialogue. My number 3 guy here, man. It's interesting. Of course, one guy doesn't make a team, but I'm gonna tell you something, and I don't know if y'all agree with me or not. But if the Eagles don't have AJ Brown against the Browns, they don't win.
Really?
You know what? I
They don't
agree with
win.
you. I agree with you.
They don't win.
If
I'm
AJ didn't
serious.
come back, if AJ wasn't back,
They don't win.
it's
And
probably
here's the problem. Here's the problem, guys. You got to put and I think we kind of touched on this last week. It's about when the guy is missing, putting that guy in a position. But here's the deal: giving that guy the exact same responsibility as you give the guy who's missing, and believing in that guy and believing that that guy will take that responsibility. I don't think they throw to a number 2 guy. Oh, even Devontae Smith.
No, they don't.
On that third down, because when he caught that third down pass, the game was over. And AJ Brown is my number 3. He had 6 catches for 116 yards. He had a touchdown. Zay Flowers, dude, this dude's like it's like watching him is like watching a video game. And if of course they stay healthy, this guy, it's amazing just to watch. He's not the type of receiver that I was. I don't know if about you, Mike and Irv, but I was not that scat guy who's just kind of like buzzing around the field, get open. I was like a straight liner, dig, come back, out route, what have you. But it's amazing just to watch Flowers. He had 9 catches, 100. He's my number 2. He had 9 for 132. He didn't have a touchdown. Big win against Washington. Washington scares me. Godwin, 11 catches, 125 yards. He was my number 1. He had 2 touchdowns. His longest was a 55-yarder. I was surprised that Tampa Bay put up the number, put up what I think 51 against New Orleans. But Godwin was my number 1.
Okay. All right. Interesting list. Love the commentary. Okay. Reverend Doctor, you're up.
All right.
Give me your top 5.
I'm going to flip mine actually. The 4 and the 5 from Fred. My 5 is Garrett Wilson. Obviously they lost against Buffalo 23-20. But here's a guy that, a receiver who was not in sync, who was not being productive pretty much the first 3 games of the season. And now it's a shame because he's gotten in sync. He's caught 21 to 33 targets for 208 yards and 2 TDs over the last 2 games. This past game, 8 receptions, 107, 1 TD, 24 long, 13.4 yard average. But now here comes, he's getting in sync, or he's gotten in sync, and now here comes Devontae Adams, knocking him off or putting him in a position where he's not necessarily the go-to guy. So he's my number 5, Garrett Wilson, right now. It's going to be interesting to see how they're able to work together. It's going to be interesting to see if he keeps his focus and stays in sync, because Devontae Adams is going to come in and spend time with Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to take away time from Garrett Wilson and probably erode a little bit the syncness that they've been able to develop over the last few weeks. So it's something to keep our eyes on for the next few weeks. My number 4 is Alan Lazard, same team, Jets. Listen, this cat, he had a problem with drops earlier in his career. He seems to have gotten himself together, but he's going to be one of the cats because we know that Aaron Rodgers is going down in history, but his catch right at the half is going to be in Aaron Rodgers' highlight film. So he's going to be in Aaron Rodgers' highlight tape for the rest of eternity, for the rest of the existence of the world, or sports at least. So hats off to him. 354 yards, 5 TDs in 6 games so far, which already surpasses his last season when he had 311 yards, 1 TD in 14 games. So he's improved. He's getting better. Great week this week for Lazard. My number 3 is Zay Flowers. Like you said, this cat runs like his hair is on fire. He's a jitterbug, 9 receptions, 132 yards, no TDs, 44 long, his longest catch this week. 14.7 yard average. That's good in today's game. He had 9 targets. This is what I like. He had 9 targets, and all 9 of them were receptions. I like that. But they were all in the first half. He did all of that in the first half. It's his career best. That was his best for his career, and he's in the second year. So he topped 100 receiving yards in back-to-back games. So he's flowing right now. Through 6 weeks, he has 33 receptions, 401 yards, 1 TD on 48 targets. Now, the league's best secondaries have been able to neutralize him. So most of his production thus far in the season has come against Washington, Cincinnati, and Las Vegas. So we'll see what happens this week, if he's able to keep him in the range or not. My number 2 is A.J. Brown. And like you said, I mean, just for me, I put him number 2.
You went all the way 2? Okay.
Yeah, I went to him 2. Why? Because first of all, I don't know if you guys watched the game or not. First, his impact on the team. He comes back. This is only his second game. He got hurt in the first game. So he's missed 3 games. And now he comes back and gets six catches for 116 yards, touchdown. And his first touchdown, let me tell you, you hear about receivers making great catches. Fred, you made great catches. Mike, you made great catches. I've made great catches. You know why they call it a great catch? They call it a great catch because it's a horrible throw. The throw is off. That's why we have to do what we got to do to make a great catch. I mean, the ball's right here in the basket. That's not a great catch. That's just a catch. But when you got somebody draping all over you and the ball's on your back shoulder when it's supposed to be thrown in front of you where you can keep running and just catch the ball and run into the end zone, that's something that A.J. Brown does at a superior level, more so than I've seen anybody in the league right now. He catches the ball when guys are draped all over, when guys have their hands on the ball, when DBs have their hands on the ball, he's able somehow, some way to wrestle the ball from them, come down with the ball, get his feet in, and body them up, use his strength and his size to make those kinds of catches. And his first touchdown was that kind of catch because the throw was a bad throw. It was behind him. It was on his inside shoulder. It was where the DB could get his hands on it rather than throwing it into the end zone over his outside shoulder and making it easier for him to catch. And I just, being able to come back like that off of an injury like that, and you know this, Mike, you know this, Fred, having a hamstring injury as a sprinter, as a receiver, there's always question marks in your mind when you first come back, particularly that first game when you're running down the field. Is this thing going to pop on me? Am I all right? Yep. And just to be able to come back and be that effective in this game. And like you said, Fred, I agree with you. If AJ wasn't playing in that game, I'm not sure the Eagles win that game. He is definitely Jalen Hurts' comfort blanket.
I hate to say it.
For sure.
He's
definitely his comfort blanket. And Chris Godwin, number 1. 11 receptions, 125, 2 TDs, 55 long. They just beat the brakes off the Saints. Oh, my God, 51-27. He led the team in targets, receptions, and reception yards. watch this now. He's got 5 TDs in 6 games. Now he had 3 touchdowns in 2022 and 2 touchdowns in 2023. So he's got the same amount of touchdowns right now that he had in the last 2 years combined. He's done that 6 games, and he has no fewer than 5 receptions in every game. This is the first multi-score game for him this season. The offensive coordinator, obviously Liam Cohen, that suits Godwin. I think he likes what's going on. Cohen's doing a great job down there. But Chris Godwin, I should say, Chris Godwin's my number 1 this week. He's the man this week.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a pretty good list. Okay. All right. Here's my top 5.
Good list.
Number 5, A.J. Brown. He's number 5, guys. You playing
No,
against
he's
the
not
Cleveland
number
Browns.
5.
He's on my list.
Okay,
A.J.
on your
Brown
list.
is number 5 on my list.
Okay,
Playing against
Michael.
the Cleveland Browns. Well, I mean, it's not like he's
Go ahead.
a juggernaut. So this is why I have him at number 5. Happy that he got back, hamstring, the whole 9 yards, but he's my number 5. Number 4 is Garrett Wilson for the Jets. You guys already talked about the receptions. How he will fit with Devontae is yet to be seen.
Will it happen?
But there's nothing not to like about him. I just don't know how good he will be against stiff competition and how tough he is. I haven't seen that. Someone in his face and he's having to make the play. I haven't seen that. I'd be happy to see that down the road. My number 3 is Deebo Samuel. Deebo is back.
That's because Mike likes the 49ers, man. He's a 49ers freak.
Here's why I like Deebo. He had an interview about why his dad named him Deebo. He was bullying the kids when he was a young kid.
He had 3 catches.
3 catches though. 3 catches for 102 yards. He got the century mark. 1 touchdown. 76 was his long. Now, the thing about him is, you tell me what game that Deebo had 1 guy tackle him.
Oh, he never has 1 guy tackle him.
Never, and that's another reason why I like him.
Unless
so
he trips himself.
Unless he trips himself. That's Deebo. Number 2, Zay Flowers. The jitterbug action for this guy, he's only going to get better as that running game keeps clicking, and he's the outlet for Jackson on the outside. So he's my number 2. Number 1, you guys have already talked about Chris Godwin. He's had, interesting stat, he's had 6 20-plus plays, and that's considered a big play. So he has 6 20-plus yards or more on his plays. Now, here's the other thing that's great about him.
That's this season. That's this season, right, Mike? You're saying this season.
Yes,
right.
Yes, sir. He has 511 yards. 324 of those have come after the catch. That's the yards after catch. So he's getting it done. He's getting it done and making some things happen after he catches the ball. So he's my number 1, like you guys' number 1. Wait, Fred, was he your number 1 as well?
Yep.
Fred?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a clean sweep. Yes, sir.
But that just adds to why Tampa Bay's, I didn't think they would be doing this well. I thought it was kind of a fugazi at the beginning of the season.
Especially offensively.
They just kind of started off and, got, caught a little rhythm, but, they fell back into normality. But no, those cats, they're playing, man. They're playing.
And you haven't even had your best game out of Mike Evans. I mean, he was kind of hobbled this last game.
Well, he only got 34 yards last game. It's just 34 yards.
He seemed like he was hurt, but they're getting it done. Okay, let's go to our surprise. First, you want to give out any shout-outs?
Oh, where's my surprise? Oh, shout-outs. Yeah. I'm trying to put my surprise. Oh, there it is, my surprise. Shout-outs to Richard Melton, obviously. Truth be told, Irving Fryar, Fred Barnett, both biased about the Eagles. He said we're biased about it. Billy Bell, shout out to you. Ben Straight, shout out to you. Thanks for watching tonight. Angelo Ortiz is in the house. Yes, Vincent Capriati is in the house. Vincent says that Rodgers is a fool. We need a Leonard Marshall moment. Whatever that means. My mama's in the house. My mother said, good evening, guys. Y'all trying to preach today. I guess she said that at the beginning of the show when Fred was telling everybody how much he loves us.
Okay. Well,
my sister Hope Wiley's in the house. She said, "What's up, peeps?" And I think I said
Yeah,
Billy
yeah.
Bell. She said, "What's up, y'all?" And I think I said Billy Bell. So shout out to everybody. Y'all hang in there while we finish this show up, and we'll answer any questions you might have here at the latter part of the show. But thanks
All
for
right,
joining us today.
surprise, Reverend Doctor. What you got?
My surprise, and I am surprised at. First of all, let me just say the Detroit Lions. They're 4-1, but I learned something.
Yeah.
I learned something about Jared Goff, and y'all know from last year, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Jared Goff. I'm not.
No, you're
Like I
not.
said,
No, you're not.
he don't
You're
even
not.
look right in his uniform. He don't look right in his uniform. He look like an ostrich or something like that. He looks goofy to me. He does. I'm not a fan of Jared Goff.
Like an
When I
ostrich.
found this out about Jared Goff, it was a surprise to me this week, and I had to give him his props. So, Jared Goff has thrown more passes and gained more yards than any other quarterback in the history in the NFL on play action plays. On play action plays. But here's the significant thing about Jared Goff. A lot of his play action plays differ from a lot of the other quarterbacks' play action plays, meaning that when he goes to reach for the back, he actually turns his back on the defense, which for a lot of quarterbacks causes problems. Because why? I'm up under center as a quarterback. I'm reading the defense, right? And you know,
Recalibrate.
all of us know once the ball is snapped, the defense is trying to give you a pre-snap read to make it look like it's not what they're trying to do. So at the snap of the ball, the linebackers, the defensive backs, they move to get to where they're going to be to create the situation they want for their defense. So as he's doing play action, when he turns his back around to read what the defense is doing, they moved. And he doesn't get a chance to see the initial movement of the defensive back or the secondary. So he's got to actually reread what's going on in the secondary and deliver the ball. Which is
So what do you think? He's reading minds? What's your surprise?
No.
Time out.
No, you're not
So
hearing what I'm saying.
Irv is saying that if he didn't turn his back, he would be a whole lot better.
Right. If he didn't turn his back, he'd be able to see what they're doing.
Okay.
Right? He can see what they're doing with play action. He can play action and kind of peek a little bit, but he actually turns his back on most of his play action. Now he's got to turn around and actually figure out what has happened and what they're doing. He has to recalculate.
Can I ask you this?
Which is more difficult. It's more difficult.
Can I ask you this? Mm-hmm. Where did you get that information from?
I was watching a show. I believe it might have been ESPN. I was watching ESPN, and then I went and looked it up.
Okay.
Somebody mentioned it on ESPN. Then I always go look it up to make sure what they're saying.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody doesn't say.
It's not that I don't believe you, but I think it's interesting.
And then I went and watched him.
I think it's
when you watch him, he does play action. He turns his back. Not on every play, but a lot of plays he turns his back with play action. And when you think about it, yes, that is a skill that has to be developed by a quarterback, because every quarterback can't do that, where you're actually making play action and you're turning your back on the defense when your initial perception of what's going on is one thing, but now you turn your back, and now when you look, you got to figure out what they've done.
Well, that's helping him conceal the ball a little bit more.
It's helping him conceal the ball, but it's not helping him read the defense.
Well, he's turning it around and he's picking it up very quickly.
Exactly. Not every quarterback can. That's my point. Not everybody can do that. Because the safeties can be split, and then the safeties one can drop and one can go man, or the safeties can be stacked, and then one could follow somebody, the other one can go to the other. He's got to pick it up again after he turns his back, which is a difficult thing to do, and he's very good at it. To this point, at this point in the season, he has a 71.1% completion rate. He's thrown for 1,330 yards, 8 touchdowns. He has a 105.3 quarterback rating, and yes, he has thrown 4 INTs. What he's doing is impressive. They scored 40 plus points in the last 2 weeks, y'all. They just beat the brakes off the Dallas Cowboys. Beat the brakes off of them. Beat the brakes off of them. And Jared Goff. Hats off to you, Jared.
Beat the Brokes.
Right.
I'm not a fan of yours, but today, hats off to you.
Hats off to you. All right, Fred.
But at the same time too, Irv, I'm gonna just say, you know that we are all about the NFL is all about productivity. So inevitably, what you're saying is if he does play action and he keeps his eyes on the defense, he would be that much better. There's a possibility.
No, I'm not saying that because he's the third highest
Okay.
ranked quarterback right now in the league.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's the third best right now, statistically wise. He's the third best quarterback in the league right now. So what he's doing is working.
That's an interesting insight.
You don't need to change anything. All right, Fred, give me your surprise.
And
that's an interesting insight.
Like Mike said, it's even more important that he's able to do that. Why? Because it helps create a better looking fake. It makes the fake to the back more realistic.
Right.
That's great. Gosh, my surprise, man, it's more of a disappointment for me than a surprise. It's somewhat a surprise, and I know Mike. Don't rush me, Mike. I know you're gonna say, "Hey, Fred,
get to the point. Get to the point."
I have no analogies this time.
Okay.
What?
I have no analogies.
Yeah, you do.
Will you say it? What? What?
I am so sick and tired. Hold on. I'm so sick and tired of us as we all used to be professionals. We all used to be in the entertainment business. I'm so sick and tired of entertainers being moved by people's comments. Have a perspective.
This is going to be a good one. Okay, go
ahead. Have a perspective. I'm good. Fred Barnett, you garbage. No problem. I'm in the league. Nick Sirianni, you need to be fired.
I knew that's
he almost goes in the stands.
I knew that's where he was going.
I'm like, what are you doing? what are you doing? Don't engage.
Oh God.
Don't engage with these guys. These people are in the stands to cheer and criticize. Fine. You are in the entertainment business. Don't engage with the fans. Don't bring yourself in. No disrespect. I swear to you, I say this wholeheartedly. No disrespect to the fans when I say, as a player, as a coach, that you bring yourself to their level to engage with them in a back and forth argument or disagreement. In the stands? Come on. Stop.
Now, what was his reason? I understand he apologized. What did he apologize for? What?
Here's the deal. There were fans in the stands. Of course, they were playing the Browns. They were saying, fire Sirianni. Because at one point, we were all like, what's going to happen here? So they start saying fire. So they start saying fire Sirianni.
Their vernacular is agreeable.
So once they won, guess what he does? I dropped my glass. Guess what he does?
Dropped his glass.
Once they won, he does this.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't after he won. They made a good play.
Moving to the right of the screen, Fred. Stay in the middle of the screen, Fred.
There was something that positive happened, Fred.
Nah,
that's
when
he
froze.
turned around and went over there.
Fred them froze. Fred froze.
It was at the end.
There you go.
Am I froze?
You were.
It was at the end of the game. So he's going back and forth with the fans, of course, who were like basically disagreeing with the fact that he was there and exists in this debacle of what they call, a season, a positive season. And why engage in that?
I think.
So I'm
I have a
disappointed
perspective
that
that is a lot deeper than that, and I have yet to hear anybody. I'm just going to give you the service because I'm going to use this tomorrow on my
talk to me.
Instagram rant. When I go on
Talk to me.
Instagram, I'll be on Instagram tomorrow at 12 o'clock on my Instagram page. Everybody, if you're watching,
Cheap plug.
there's a cheap plug. Birds Insight with Irving on Instagram every Thursday
Yes.
at 12 noon. I think it has to do with his insecurities, because you know what happened during the off season. They brought him in the office and told him what they were going to do. Lurie and the head office told him what they were going to do. They brought their own people in, or the people they wanted to hire as an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. And you, Nick Sirianni, you're not going to have your hands in what the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator does. So that kind of it kind of castrated him. Okay.
Emasculating.
And he's been going around based on, calling plays and going for it on fourth down and, all these different things that are happening, I think are happening because he's operating out of his insecurities in his position and as a person. They made a big deal. The press made a big deal out of the fact that after the game, he brought his kids into the press conference with him. Well, first of all, he's done that before. But just think about it. Yeah, he knows they're going to ask him about what just happened with the fan. So his kids affirm him as a man, as a person. They affirm him. And he's had a conversation with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was on the radio this week talking about, we had conversations. We told him, Coach, just be yourself. We want you to be yourself. You're doing a great job. You're developing great as a coach. Why does a player have to affirm a coach? Why is a player bringing affirmation to a coach? That's what a coach is supposed to do for a player.
Absolutely.
So I believe he's having problems with his self-image and his self-esteem around the position that he holds. And every now and then he acts out because he's not sure about where he is or what's happening with him or what he's supposed to be doing.
I'm emailing the coach right now so he can come lay on your couch so you can counsel him, Irv.
Hey, he needs to come. But that's my insight on it, and that's what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, because to me it makes sense.
Okay. Well, here's the thing.
It's when you at that level, and it's so interesting because I've seen it kind of metamorphosize over the years. You know what I noticed, and I think I may have mentioned this last year. I was watching a basketball game, NBA game, and somebody said something to LeBron James. And instead of LeBron just keep going, he stops and he starts to engage. I'm like, why? I'm confused. I've been courtside in the 90s at a Sixers game when they were screaming at Charles Barkley and saying the most hideous things. I've been on the sidelines when they're saying the most hideous things about me, and I'm like,
you have to let it go. Yeah, you have to let it go.
All right, that's a good segue for us to keep going. Okay, so we can get through. All right,
It's
I'm gonna
over.
give you my surprise. Hold on, I'm gonna give you my surprise. We got about 10 minutes left. I'm gonna give you my surprise real quick. This is a surprise. You guys not even expecting this. Here's my surprise.
come
You
on.
weren't expecting mine.
No, I wasn't. That was a good one.
Irv, get off stage.
Pittsburgh Steelers, 4-2. Can somebody explain to me why there's still quarterback talk
Right.
with regards to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields? The surprise
shouldn't
for
be.
me is Tomlin. I'm a big Tomlin fan, like I'm sure both of you are.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to still have this open,
Mike, that's a point, Mike. That's a good point, Mike.
it's killing me. It's killing me
But
'cause I
he
have
did,
respect for him.
he said
That's a
Russell
good point,
Wilson-
Mike.
He said Russell Wilson starting this week.
I know. Mike, you make a great point.
But I just don't understand. It's 4-2.
Right, kids 4-2.
The guy's not doing anything to cost them games.
Right.
And he's playing well. What does that do to his psyche? If now you're
Yeah.
going to bench him for playing well, do you have something that you've promised Russell Wilson? I just
And
don't get it. It's surprising.
Mike,
Very surprising.
what do you create behind that
Yeah,
decision too?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's a great point, Mike.
I never would thought that Tomlin would do something
Right.
like that. That's
Out of
something
all people.
Nick Sirianni would do something like that, but not Tomlin. You know, so that's my surprise.
Mm,
I was surprised when I heard that too. But at first, I
Yeah.
went back and started doing some research. 'Cause I'm thinking, okay, Fields must have did something wrong. What happened? What did he do wrong? But then I looked at him like he's 4-2. What's going on?
There's a lot of people that would love to be 4-2.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm gonna leave that there just for the purpose of time, but you just chew on that for the rest of the week.
Chew on it.
All right. So now let's get to our games, and then we'll get to the picks.
Games.
Let's go ahead and start off with Thursday night, Sunday night, and our Monday night picks. Let's
We got 2 Monday nights, right?
No, we're just gonna go with one. We're just gonna go with it's 2 Sunday.
There's two Monday nights.
Is it 2 Monday nights as well?
Yeah, it's 2 Monday nights. There's an 8:15 or 8 o'clock, and there's a 9
Oh,
o'clock.
that's right. Okay, I didn't pick the second one, so we need to go back. And once I hear you guys pick, then I'll be able to pick the last one. Anyway,
Okay.
so
Cool.
let's get those, and let's not stay on them. Let's not be long-winded because we on the clock here on my show, not my show, but the show that I'm running. Okay, so we're on the clock, so keep it moving.
Okay.
Keep it
Yes,
moving.
boss.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Irv. Since you're talking, we'll let you go. You're the elder statesman. Go right ahead, Fred. I mean, no, not Fred, but go ahead. Yeah.
I'm the Broncos Thursday night. The Broncos are playing the Saints in New Orleans. The Saints I'm going to pick the Saints. I'm just counting on them bouncing back at home. They're 4-2. Broncos are 3-3. I'm going to take the Saints. Sunday night, you got the Jets versus the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I'm going to take. You know what? I'm going to take the Jets. I'm going with the Jets again. I'm going to go with the Jets. Look, I can't be no more wrong than I already am. I'm going to go with the Jets. Hopefully, something happens and they get it together. Everything points differently than that, but what I've been doing so far ain't been working, so I'm going to try to do something different. Monday Night Football, the first game is the Ravens versus the Bucks. They're in Tampa Bay. I'm going with the Ravens. Then the second Monday night game is the Chargers and the Cardinals. I'm just flipping the coin with that because they both suck. I'm going with the Cardinals. They're at home.
Okay. That's why I didn't even look at that one. Okay. All right. Got it. All right. Fred, you up?
All right, I am up. Actually, Irv, I'm going to go with New Orleans, but New Orleans is not 4-2. They're 2-4.
Oh, 2-4. Did I say 4-2?
They
2-4. I meant to say 2-4.
they're 2-4 against the
Yeah.
3-3 Denver Broncos.
Yeah, right.
I am actually going with the Jets because guess what? Something new has transpired other than the firing of the coach. And Mike, I got you, Mike. I know something new has transpired, and I think this is more. I think this is a positive transition with adding a player that's that could possibly be a Hall of Fame. But I got the Jets over Pittsburgh.
Look, Ben Straight said, "You're kidding me, the Jets."
Yes.
Yeah,
I got the Jets. The Jets should have beat Buffalo.
Exactly. The Jets really should have won that game against Buffalo last week.
They should have beat Buffalo.
Yep.
So we got Baltimore at Tampa Bay. I 4-2 Baltimore, 4-2 Tampa Bay. It's time for Tampa to get realistic. And the Chargers 3-2 against Arizona 2-4. I got Chargers.
Okay.
They're not even. Herbert's not even throwing the ball.
The Ravens. You're going with the Ravens, right, Fred? Okay, got it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I won't belabor the point. Broncos, Saints. I'm going to go with the Saints. I like the quarterback, Spencer Rattler. I'm not. He needs another game under his belt.
No,
And
he threw for 240 some yards. First game.
Denver's not there.
Right. So I'm going to go.
Quarterback's not there.
They got a lot of injuries though, but I'm going to go with the Saints at home. Jets at Steelers. Man, I can't go against the Steelers at home.
Yeah, I know.
With
But
Tomlin.
I just think
defensively,
I just think Russell Wilson's
You
not
just
going
you
to play
just went
well.
against Tomlin.
Yeah, he's
Well,
not
yeah.
going
You
to play
just went
well.
against Tomlin.
No, that was my surprise. But in terms of him
No,
calling
you
the game defensively, I'm going to go with the Steelers.
I don't
I'm
think
thinking
Russell
that
Wilson's
Okay.
going to play well. Mm-hmm.
I know what you're
Me-
saying, but I think he'll play well enough because I think the Jets they're going to expose the Jets. And not only that, Devontae Adams, that hamstring, we talked about it. He might come out there and pop that hamstring. He hasn't played, and he come out there and mash that gas, and that hamstring said, "Oh no, what you doing?" So go with that one. The Ravens at the Bucks. I like the Bucks. I like what they're doing, but doggone Ravens is rolling, man. And I just think
Yeah.
they play a lot of man to man. I just believe, with that being said, Lamar gonna have over 100 yards.
Yep,
They're gonna
rushing. He's
they're
gonna
be going down the field, and
He's
he's
going
gonna
big
take
day.
off.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that they'll have a good game, a big game. Chargers and the Cardinals, like you said, that's a coin toss. I don't care, don't know. I'm gonna go with the
50-50.
Cardinals.
50-50.
That's a coin toss.
50.
Yeah,
Just
you're
flip
probably
a
right.
coin.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're
Flip a
probably right.
coin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all right, so let's
Well,
get to our picks as we wrap up. Let's get to our picks that we've had. Boy, last week we were hurting, boy. Ooh, man. it was
What do
ugly.
you mean? I was.
It was ugly. Well, actually, you were 2-1. I was 1-2. Fred was 2-1.
Okay.
So it was a rough week, man. I picked the Jets. They let me down. I was just like, man. So we're now, Irv, you and I both are 11-9. We're both
Wow,
11-9.
that's not good.
And Fred is 13-7.
He's only 2 games ahead of us. He's only 2 games
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh yeah, we got a shot.
Don't get cocky over there, bro. Don't get cocky now. It's a long season. We're not even halfway through yet. You throwing punches. You're gonna get tired after a while.
So we got our work cut out for us, but we got a shot. So to recap, Broncos and Saints, we're all picking the Saints. The Jets and the Steelers. I'm going with the Steelers. You guys are going with the Jets. See, the Jets burned me last week. I ain't going with the Jets again, doggone it.
Yeah, but they should have won. They played good enough to win, but they
No,
didn't.
there was a psychological thing going on, and there's a psychological thing going on this week.
Okay, that same kicker is going to be there. He's going to miss more field goals. Doggone it. All right.
There's no win, though. There's no win.
Shot. He missed him again this week.
Ravens at the Bucks. We all picked the Ravens. And Cardinals. Fred, you with the Chargers. And Irv and I are going with the Cardinals.
That's where we're gonna start catching up. That's when we're gonna start catching up. Cardinals, come on, Cardinals. God
There you go.
Kyler
All right,
Murray, you little bow-legged little shrimp. You better run your behind off.
So that's a
Little-
wrap for that.
little first.
Irv, we got any questions that we can talk to the people?
Listen, do we have? Let me throw this main scene up. Anybody have any questions? Erlene Barnett's in the house. She says, "Hi guys. You guys have any
Hey,
questions
Mama.
for it? There was a question earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Question. It was from Ben Straight. Honest grade on Jalen Hurts on field production, not him as a human being, but if he's the quarterback y'all are facing, how scared are y'all to defend against him? Scale from 1 to 10.
10 being he's the top 10.
Yeah, 10 being you're scared that you're scared to face him. You're nervous about facing him.
I give him a 7.
I'm not. I give him a 5.5. I'm not. I'm sorry. I wish it was different. I'm serious.
Yeah, I would say the same, Fred, somewhere around the middle range, 5.5. He doesn't run like he ran 2 years ago. He doesn't throw the ball well over the middle of the field, and he definitely doesn't throw the ball. People who are watching film, defensive coordinators, he definitely does not throw the ball well to the sidelines on timing routes. He's below average, and he's not a quarterback that's going to, at least now, I haven't seen it from halfway last year to this year. He's not a quarterback that's going to put this team on his back and take them to a win. He'll manage the game. They won this week. He didn't turn the ball over, and they're 11-1 when he doesn't turn the ball over. But that's not the kind of quarterback that they're paying him to be. They're paying him to be the kind of quarterback to take the team when necessary and put them on their back and go win the game.
I'm gonna make a quick point about Jalen Hurts. If I was a defensive coordinator I would watch his film and I would say, no problem.
Well, you,
Opposed to watching this film and saying, we got something to deal with this week.
yeah, no, there's
We
nothing to
got
deal
we got
with.
a problem to deal with this week. And there's something about his play, his whole attitude, his whole demeanor that's just not a problem. It
But here's
should be a problem.
but here's the reason why I gave him a 7.
Irving Fryer. When defensive coordinators and defensive backs watch the film and they getting ready to play against you, they saw you and they said, he's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Timpson, they saw you and they said, oh, this guy is a problem.
But
We
Fred,
need to figure out how to resolve this problem. You have
but
to be a problem
but
to
it
be
all
successful.
depends. It all depends, and the reason why I gave him a 7, it all depends on whether or not he is on. If because he's on, he's to me a 7. If he can be on,
But
I think
I hear what you're saying, Mike. But it's you're always on.
Let me tell you this. This
Yeah,
past week against the Browns, defensively, yes, the Cleveland Browns were one of the upper echelon defenses last year, and they're a good defense this year. Their defensive coordinator is Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz, yeah, he does send
Yes.
guys, but he's not a
Yes.
guy. He's not a complex defensive guy. He's a kind of a vanilla. What you see is kind of what you get. So Jalen was able to easily read when it was man to man, when it was zone, what kind of zone it was, whether it was cover 4, whether it was cover 3, whether it was cover
what
1.
he's supposed to do. Yeah.
But a lot
There were no
Schwartz
tricks.
doesn't just listen to me. Schwartz doesn't disguise his defenses like most pre-snap, like most defensive coordinators do across the league.
Tampa
week,
Bay.
So this week for Jalen, it was easy to figure out. Just like when he threw that crossing route to Devontae Smith and he scored on it. That's because he had some quick motion from Saquon real quick. He saw that the linebacker ran with him, so he had Saquon come back, and he called the play with the crossing route because it was man-to-man. And he threw the ball because he was able to see that it was man-to-man. That's as easy as it's going to be for the rest of the year for Jalen Hurts when it comes to pre-snap reads, motion, and him trying to figure out what the defense is doing. He's not good at that. He's not as good as he needs to be at pre-snap reads and then throwing that ball at the moment of separation for the wide receiver versus the DB.
Okay.
Fred done went out.
All right. Let it be written, so let it be done.
Let it be done.
Okay.
Let me see who else. I don't see any more questions. Brother Christian is in the house. Quintelis Christian is in the house. Ben Straight said 100% fair. You are so much more real than the PC commentators week to week. Thank y'all. Make him go left, game over. Make Jalen Hurts go left.
That's a good point.
Yeah, make him go left, game over. Hope, my sister Hope said not scared. She's not scared to defend Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
So listen, Mike, we gonna get out of here. Mike, take us out. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
What you got?
Richard Melton said, is Irving Fryar and Fred Barnett disappointed in Jalen Hurts? Because we're in this area, I think he's asking that.
No, he knows y'all are homers. He's saying because y'all are homers. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm disappointed in his play. And it started for me back second game of the season when they had an opportunity to win that game against the Atlanta Falcons, and Jalen Hurts threw that interception. He actually could have managed the game better. He had 3 opportunities, 19 seconds left, timeout, only needed to get about 20 yards to get within field goal range for Jake Elliott, and he threw the ball down the field, and the game was over, intercepted. That's not what we pay him for. We pay him to not manage the game, but to win the game. He could have easily won that game, in spite of the fact of what Atlanta had done in terms of coming back and scoring a touchdown.
Here's what I asked.
They played the Giants this week. If he can't do anything with the Giants, then you got real problem.
Here's what I ask you to do. Look at Jalen Hurts 2 years ago on the sideline. Look at Jalen Hurts right now on the sideline. when they're down. He's a totally different individual. 2 years ago, when they were down 1-2-5, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, he was in everybody's face. For whatever reason right now, when they're down, when they go down a touchdown, he just goes and he sits. That's confusing to me.
I think it's pressure.
That's confusing.
His wallet's too heavy. He got to go sit down.
You got a lot of pressure.
That's confusing.
All right, man. Let's
His wallet's
wrap it
too
up.
heavy. He got $250 million in his wallet, his back pocket. He got to go sit down. He's weighing him down.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you watching Wideout's World. Until next week, same time, same channel. I am
Mike can't do it.
And
Can't do it.
that
Mike can't
is
do it. He can't do it.
Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar. This is Wideout's World. See you next week.
We out of here.
Hey!
This has been Wideout's World.
Touchdown.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 NFL legends. Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Are you freaking kidding me? If it's football talk you're looking for, I think we've got you covered. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on YouTube at Wideout's World. See you next time.
Let's go. Let's go. 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 Go.